Hi, my name is Godwin Kenechukwu, and in this session, I'll be walking us through how we can use Power Apps container to build our search box and also design our custom button and also custom our header with container. All right, to achieve this, we'll just quickly we'll be working with container. So I'll just add a new screen. You go to screen, create a new screen. We are building this from scratch, so we'll be working with container, and I'll just insert a let's work with container. So the first thing, I have to have my root container. Then the width, I say width, I want to define my width to be parent.width, parent.width. Then my height also, height should be parent.height, parent.height, parent.height. Then the x and y, we set it to 0 so it can fit proper. So you can see what we have. This is it's fitted correctly. So I don't want border radius. I take the border radius out. I don't want my container to have a border, so I'm taking it out. So if I play this, you will see no border. You can see my container has some um, drop shadow. I'll leave that for the now. All right, we can rename this and call it I already have some as root container, so let me just container roots. I'll need two because I have something like that already. So now I want to insert my header. So you can choose to use a rectangle, but for this test case, for this we'll be using a container. So once I add a container, I'm adding a horizontal container. So I'll just go down and just turn off the flexible height so we can set the height ourselves. So then currently the height is 200. I want it to be 70. I'll set it to 70. You can see it's currently 70. Then the width, we can make it parent.width. The width is 500, but we want it to be dynamic, so parent.width. So it captures if the screen is small. It's so I'm taking out the border radius. I'm also taking out setting the border to none. Drop shadow, I want it to be very visible, so I'll make it bold. You see. Then I want also the fill. We want to add a fill color. So for this one, we can actually make use of this color. This is what we have. So now we want to add the text label, and remember this is a horizontal container for the header. It will place whatsoever you're adding side by side. If you're using a vertical container, it adds it on top of each other. So the text, you can call these a movie app. We're just using this for movie. You can just call it movie app. All right, for short. Then the color, you can just quickly change the color here, the text color to white. You can see it's white. We can increase the font size. We can increase the font size to make it very bold. I want to increase it to 20. All right, you can see what we have. But if I play this is not well centered. So that's one of the beauty of using container. By just click of button, you can just get everything aligned. So I'll just click on this container. First of all, let me add the second text label so we can arrange everything in the container. So the next thing, I want to capture the logged in user. I can see welcome. We have welcome, then space, then concatenate, then using the Power Apps user function, which the user function to capture the logged in user. So once I do this, it gives me the option. What I want is the full name. So it has given me welcome Larry. The name of the environment is Larry environment. So I want to increase the font size and also the color. If I want to make it 16, no, let me work with 15. All right, 15 is okay. Then I want to also change the color. The color is currently black, so I want it to be white. All right, and this is what we have currently. If we were using a rectangle, we would actually have to be dragging or shifting, but with container, you can just come here and change the alignment. We have different options. This is a horizontal container. We can just quickly change it here now. Vertical alignment, we want it to be vertically aligned in the center. It position it in the center. Then horizontal alignment, I want it to be space between. If I do space between now, you see it gives it's spread them. Now I can now add my padding left and right to move them far away from the edge. I can say padding left to be 40, padding right 40, and see what we have. You can see what we have. So if you still choose to want to move it away from the edge, you can increase it. Maybe let's say 45. It moves it. So if you see what we have. So with container, with responsive container, it makes building Paras application easy and smooth. You don't have to start dragging. By just click of buttons, you can get to align your controls proper. So the next thing is we want to do this. We want to replicate this search part. If you notice, we have a container underneath it. So I will also add a container. So I'll just click on this. Then you can choose to rename yours. Rename this. We can choose to rename this so we can understand header. I'll call it container header, so that probably you want to reference it, you can know the name of that container. So we want to add another container for the sub header, which contains the search and the search button and the search control. So I'll just click on insert, then container. Once I add container, we are using a horizontal container. We want to place it side by side. So this is the horizontal container, and you can see currently the height covers the entire space. So I want to turn it off, the flexible height property, then give it the height of 100. For instance, we want this height to be 100. Yeah, 100. If I play this application, you can see my border is still showing. I don't want it to be visible. So I'll come down here, go to click on it, select it, then go down. The border, set it to none. Border radius, take it out. Then the drop shadow, I don't want it to be visible. So if I play it, you won't know that there is a container. So this container will help us to align or arrange our controls together or side by side. So now I'll just click on this, then insert, then type container. Once I type container here, I've added a non-responsive container. So I want to give it a width and a height. So let's say I want to give it a width of 300, then a height of 35. Let's see, height of 35. Then I want to give it the rounded edge, which is the border radius. I want to set the border radius to 35, so it will be curvy. Then also the border, I want it to have a border, but I want it to be very small, 0.1. So if I play it, you see this is what we have. So remember, we are trying to create a search control or search control. So the next thing, I'll just add our text input so that we can retrieve the value from it. Inside the container, this is a text input, add it. So once you add it, so that is where the user can type in. So the default value, I want to take it out. Then the hint, I want to change it to search. So this is the hint text is search. So we can see it is at the edge of it. So I want to add it, give it a padding left, so that it will shift from the very beginning. So let's make it 17. So it's shifted a little. So I can make the width of that to be the same with the parent. You just say parent.width instead of having a static value, parent.width, so that if you increase the parent, it will also increase automatically. The height also will make it parent.height instead of a static value, parent.height. So it takes the height of the parent. So we can also, the border, I don't want it to have a border. It should just take the border of the container. I'll set it to none. Then the border radius, it will also take the shape of the container. Then the hover color, Currently, if I play it, this is what we have. You can see it's looking too much, so I can choose to reduce it. If you want to, we can reduce it. Just click on it, then come down here, go to the hover color. If I click on this, go to custom. Once we go to custom, I want to reduce it. If I play it now, at least it is reduced. If you want to increase it, you can increase it. So the next thing is button. You can choose to just add a button, but I love using custom made button using container. So in order not to waste time, we can just copy this container and paste it. Copy, Ctrl C, then come here and paste. So we don't waste much time on this. Alright, now I want to delete the text input on this because we don't need it. So in this one, I will remove it, delete. Then also the width of this button, the height is 35, same thing with that. So the width is 300. Maybe we can choose to say our button should be 100. If you want it to be 100 or 110, and it depends on what you want. So inside of this, we can add the text label to carry the what our button is doing. So we can type the text to be search. So once I do it search, then we can align it to center. So it centers it. So it centers it for me. So if I play this, this is what we have. You can see, but there's no space between the button and the search input. So since we are using a container, we can just add a gap between it. So I can come here and add a gap. I can say a gap to be 15. If I add a 15 gap, you can see it is now, there's a gap. Then I want to align them to the right hand side. I can just horizontal alignment, put them to this, then add the padding right so that it won't, I can make the padding right to be same with this. The padding right for this is 45. So that I can do the same thing for this. Padding right, I can change it to 45. We can see, if I play this, you can see they are all starting from the same angle. Without you knowing, you won't know that there's a container, there's a horizontal container. That's the beauty of container. It's help you to align your control. But if you're just using a normal adding of your controls, you have to be dragging and all that. So now a button is actually different from this. You can see there's no, it's not showing as if there's a button. To give that button effect, we'll just remove it from preview, then go to click on this container, then say insert button. We want to insert a button, then make the fill to be transparent. So we now inserted the button. We want to make the width of this button also width to be parent.width to assume the same parent.width. The height also, we want to set it to parent.height. Parent.height. Now what will be left is just the x and y is 0. It's just to change the fill color. The border, I don't want, I'm setting it to none, taking it out. Then also the text, we don't need the text. So also now the fill, unless we are comfortable, okay, we want to make it transparent first of all. Go up, check for the color property. I want it to be transparent for the button. So right, it is now transparent. So hover color, I'm taking it out. I don't want, I can make it we can go to the header and copy the fill. First of all, let's come here, check for the fill property of our header. I'll copy it, Ctrl C, then come to this container, the button container, go to the fill property. We want to make the fill, Ctrl V, then we want to make the text also color to be white. Color, we change it to white. Then the button, now we want to make the hover color of this button, we want to 0.5 of the we just change it to 0.5. Alright, so with this our this thing is set. So we can see if you hover, it gives you 0.5 of its original color. So You can see, you can type, we can see Monday. Currently the search functionality is not working, but this is how we can use container to build our application and position each controls. You don't have to be dragging, but with containers you can just position them correctly. So the next thing, I have to take out the border here on this so that the border will not be visible. I'll just come down to this and take out the border. Set the border to none. If I set the border to none, if I play it, you can see this is what we have. Alright, also the button. Let's take out the border of our button if we don't need it. Scroll up. Border, check for the border property. Alright, so if the border radius, it's assuming the border radius of our parent container. So this is how it is to work with container and making things easier and aligning your controls proper. Alright, so the next thing we'll be doing in the next video is how we can build our display table with a vertical gallery. We'll be showing that. I hope we learned one or two. So if there's anything you would want us to also learn together, you can drop it in the comment box, and please subscribe so that we can actually grow this channel together. Thank you very much, and thank you.